The sands of Egypt hold countless secrets. Beneath the shifting dunes and forgotten ruins, history whispers through stone and dust. Yet among all the mysteries that captivate the human imagination, none stirs the heart and mind like the vanished tomb of Cleopatra, the last queen of Egypt. Her life was a drama of passion and power. Her death, a legend wrapped in myth, and her resting place, a secret that continues to evade even the most determined of seekers. For more than 2,000 years, Cleopatra has refused to yield the final chapter of her story. Imagine the twilight of ancient Egypt. The pyramids of Giza were already ancient relics, the temples of Thebes weathered by centuries. The Nile still flowed as it always had, bringing life to the desert. And upon its banks rose Alexandria, the jewel of the Mediterranean, a city of learning, commerce, and intrigue. At its heart ruled Cleopatra VII, a woman who defied expectations, wielded charm as fiercely as any weapon, and stood against the might of Rome itself. She was no ordinary monarch. She was the last of the Ptolemaic dynasty, descended from Alexander's generals, yet fully Egyptian in spirit and ambition. Her reign was marked by intelligence, cunning, and allure. Cleopatra spoke many tongues, mastered diplomacy, and sought to restore Egypt's glory. She aligned herself with Julius Caesar, bore him a son, and later bound herself to Mark Antony, sharing both love and power with one of Rome's greatest generals. To her supporters, she was the embodiment of Isis, the goddess of life and magic. To her enemies, she was a seductress, a schemer, the serpent of the Nile. But in 30 BCE, her empire of alliances and dreams collapsed. The legions of Octavian, Rome's future Augustus, defeated Antony at the Battle of Actium. Cornered and desperate, Cleopatra retreated to her mausoleum in Alexandria, a monument she had prepared long before. There, within its gilded halls, she chose death over humiliation. Ancient writers tell us she took her own life, perhaps by the bite of an asp, perhaps by poison. Mark Antony, wounded and broken, joined her in death. Thus ended not only her reign, but the very line of pharaohs that had ruled for millennia. And yet, the mystery begins here. What became of her tomb? Roman sources such as Plutarch and Cassius Dio describe that Octavian allowed Cleopatra and Antony to be buried together, side by side. It was an act of calculated mercy, meant to display Rome's magnanimity even in conquest. But they do not tell us precisely where. Some claim their tomb was within the royal quarter of Alexandria, now long vanished beneath waves and sand. Earthquakes, tsunamis, and time itself have swallowed the palaces and temples that once stood there. The city's ancient harbor collapsed into the Mediterranean, burying statues, sphinxes, and entire avenues beneath the sea. If Cleopatra lies there still, she rests beneath waters that guard her secrets fiercely. Others suggest her tomb may not be in Alexandria at all. One of the most tantalizing theories points to Taposiris Magna, a temple complex west of the city dedicated to Osiris. Archaeologists have uncovered tunnels, chambers, and burial sites there, along with coins and artifacts bearing Cleopatra's image. Some believe she chose this site deliberately to associate herself in death with the myth of Isis and Osiris, the eternal lovers. If Cleopatra and Antony were laid to rest within such a temple, their burial would not only be a union in love, but also a symbolic rebirth in the afterlife. For decades, archaeologists and adventurers have searched in vain. In the 19th century, European explorers scoured Alexandria, digging through rubble and ruins. In the 20th century, divers plunged beneath the harbor, discovering colossal statues and sphinxes, but no tomb. In the 21st, the quest has intensified, with Egyptian archaeologist Kathleen Martinez dedicating her life to the search. She believes Taposiris Magna holds the key. Deep beneath the temple, her team has unearthed vast networks of tunnels stretching for miles. One recently discovered tunnel, carved from bedrock, has been called a geometric miracle, and some hope it could lead to a royal burial site. Yet the queen herself remains elusive. Why does her tomb matter so deeply? Because Cleopatra's resting place is more than a grave. It is a symbol, the missing piece of a story that has shaped the imagination of generations. If found, her tomb could reveal not only her remains, but also the truth of her death. Did she really die by snakebite, or was it a carefully concocted tale? What treasures accompanied her to the afterlife? What messages did she leave for those who would one day seek her? The discovery could rival that of Tutankhamun, rewriting our understanding of the ancient world. But there is another reason the mystery endures. Cleopatra was more than a queen. She was a legend crafted in layers. To the Romans, she was a cautionary tale of female ambition. To the Arabs of later centuries, she was remembered as a sorceress and scholar. To Shakespeare, she became the tragic heroine of Antony and Cleopatra, immortalized in verse. And to modern audiences, she is the eternal enigma, part goddess, part lover, part ruler, whose tomb holds the promise of unveiling the woman behind the myth. Yet perhaps it is fitting that her tomb remains hidden, for Cleopatra was a master of image and delusion. In life, she controlled how others saw her. In death, she continues to guard her secrets. Each failed expedition, each false lead, only strengthens the aura of mystery. She is the queen who defies discovery, whose story refuses closure. Still, hope remains. Advances in technology allow archaeologists to scan beneath sand and sea, mapping structures unseen for millennia. Every year brings new finds, statues, coins, fragments of temples that hint at her presence. The world waits, eager for the day when a sealed chamber is opened and the last queen of Egypt steps from the shadows of history. Until then, we're left with imagination. We picture her tomb lit by oil lamps, walls adorned with gold, her body wrapped in linen, resting beside Antony. We hear the mourning chants of her attendants, the final prayers to Isis, the sealing of stone doors that have not opened in 2,000 years. And we wonder if somewhere beneath the earth or the sea, Cleopatra still waits to be found. For the sands of Egypt do not easily surrender their secrets. They bury kings and queens, empires and cities, keeping them hidden until the time is right. Perhaps one day the tomb of Cleopatra will emerge, glittering with treasures, whispering the truth of her final hours. Or perhaps she will remain forever elusive, her greatest triumph being not her rule, but her ability to remain a mystery. And so the question lingers, haunting archaeologists, historians, and dreamers alike. Where is Cleopatra? Is she beneath the waves of Alexandria, guarded by the sea? Is she hidden within Taposiris Magna, waiting for hands bold enough to reach her? Or did time erase her resting place completely, leaving only the myth to endure? Cleopatra's vanished tomb is more than an archaeological puzzle. It is a mirror of our own longing for closure, for discovery, for connection with the past. And until the sands shift or the sea yields, she will remain the queen who rules from beyond the grave, her mystery intact, her legend eternal.